We have some breaking news in golf where Tiger Woods underwent surgery to his right ankle earlier today. Tiger's team tweeted that the procedure was to deal with post-traumatic arthritis in the ankle stemming from his car crash in 2021. Tiger was most recently in action at the Masters, but had to withdraw in the third round because of plantar fasciitis. Now, there's no official word on how long Tiger will be out. That next major is May 18th at Oak Hill Country Club in Rochester, New York. You're taking a look at the statement from Tiger's team that was posted to his Twitter account. It goes on to say that he underwent surgery. He has determined the surgery to be successful. That is what the doctor said, and then goes on to say, quote, Tiger is currently recovering and looks forward to beginning his rehabilitation. And we have CBS Sports golf writer Kyle Porter joining us here to talk about this big news with Tiger Woods. Kyle, your official reaction to Tiger undergoing this surgery?
Well, it's not super surprising, just from his reaction at the Masters, withdrawing from probably the tournament that he loves the most throughout the year. Something more was going on. I think what's interesting, Jacqueline, is Tiger's had procedures before that he hasn't announced. So this one is seemingly significant. I don't know how significant it is, but it's more significant than some of the minor things. I mean, he's talked in press conferences about like, hey, I had some minor things. He'll just say it offhand, and it's like, whoa, wait a second, what was that? Like, we didn't know about some of the things that Tiger had procedures on. So this one is meaningful. This one is significant, and I don't know that it's massively shocking in the wake of just clearly how much pain he was in at Augusta National. So I don't know what it means for his future necessarily. I know we're going to probably talk about that in a minute, but it is obviously a bummer because it seems like we're a little bit stuck in this cycle of, hey, Tiger's showing up. Hey, Tiger had to withdraw. Hey, Tiger had to have a procedure. And I don't know how his body, it kind of in the condition that it's in, ever gets out of that cycle.
Yeah, Kyle, let's get into his future as best we can, right? We know you mentioned it's significant. There's a Twitter statement about this surgery. It seems like with it being that significant, he would be out for a while. Some online estimates started at 6 weeks, goes up from there. I mean, in your opinion, at first glance, how does it look for Tiger for the majors that are remaining this year?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play the PGA Championship. I think any just person on Twitter could say, like, Tiger's probably not going to play the PGA Championship. I think where it gets interesting, Jacqueline, is the U.S. Open at LACC, which obviously is a place that is revered and that Tiger wants to be at, having a connection to Southern California, and then the Open Championship at Hoylake, where he has won before. I think those are fairly interesting. I mean, the U.S. Open, though, is 2 months away. So I just, if I'm betting right now, I don't think we see Tiger at a major for the remainder of this year. And I think that kind of begs the question of, what are we doing here? Like, is Tiger going to just, and he gets the freedom to do whatever he wants, right? Like, that's his prerogative, that's his position. But I think it's time to have a real conversation about whether Tiger should really even be out there anymore, even at majors, And again, that's his prerogative. He can do what he wants, but I just think we've gone through this cycle so many different times that Tiger's not it's a miracle that he can make the cut at the Masters. He's not in a position to win a major championship. And he said this, Jacqueline, at the Masters. He said, listen, I don't know how many more of these I have in me. So he's saying, like, hey, I don't know how much longer this is going to go on. So I think it's not crazy to say, hey, let's have a real conversation about whether Tiger should be doing this anymore.
Yeah, and Kyle, just to kind of piggyback off of that point, you kind of mentioned the roller coaster that we've seen with Tiger at the Genesis. We saw some good play, makes the cut at the Masters, has to withdraw. I mean, at some point, everyone's kind of wondering, is this taking a toll on his body where, like you mentioned, maybe he doesn't play at all? I mean, how close do you think we are to getting to that point?
Yeah, it's interesting because, on one hand, he says, I don't know how many more of these Masters I have in me. But on the other hand, he's talking about playing on the Champions Tour where he has a cart. So, obviously major championship golf is different than being on the Champions Tour where you can have a cart and you can kind of get your way around. You don't have to walk Augusta National. You don't have to walk, a PGA championship at Oak Hill. So those are very different things, but I think we're getting pretty close to just, listen, like if he shows up at a major, let's say he skips the rest of this year and shows up at the Masters at the beginning of 2024, I don't know how anybody can go into that saying, hey, Tiger's going to be competitive at this year's Masters. Now, can he make the cut? For sure. Is making the cut the same thing as being competitive and having a chance to win? Absolutely not. So I do think we're getting close to Tiger not really, maybe playing the Masters and that's it. I don't know how that's going to look in the future for him.
And you know what, Kyle, when you think about Tiger Woods and his legacy and everything that he's accomplished, when he is trying to work through these injuries and playing all of these tournaments, do you think it damages his legacy or his reputation to a point when we're kind of seeing this week after week?
I don't think it damages his legacy. I think, I was blown away at the Masters just by his desire to be a professional. And what I mean by that is just to show up. Professional, any amateur can go out there and shoot 65 in one day, but to show up day after day after day, after week after week after week, after year after year after year, you're a professional. And Tiger takes a lot of pride in being a professional. And I think what he's done since the car accident in February of 2021 is admirable. It really is. It's very aspirational to continue to be a pro even though your body is failing you and you probably don't really want to be out there. He has such a commitment to being a professional that I think is so admirable. But he doesn't owe anybody anything. And I think sometimes he feels like he owes it to himself. I don't think Tiger owes himself anything anymore. He feels like he owes it to himself to be a pro. He's done that. He's done it for 25 straight years, 27 straight years, whatever it is. And I just think it's time for him to rest and to enjoy life and to not jump back into that grind that is major championship weeks.
All right, that is Kyle Porter joining us here on HQ as we're following that breaking news in golf where Tiger Woods underwent surgery to his right ankle earlier today. Thanks so much, Kyle. We appreciate it. And of course, you can hear Kyle Porter alongside Rick Gehman, Greg Ducharme, Mark Immelman on the First Cut Golf podcast. You can download and listen wherever you find your pods, or you can scan that QR code.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.